Hey Saberland, it's Nate coming at you. Another fragging night. So, some great news and some pretty good news, but also some great news. So, first, the pretty good news. Um, did sort of an impulse buy earlier this week from a fellow that was selling one of these on eBay, and I had been looking for one of these hilts for a while. I actually had purchased a Graflex from an 89 Sabers Graflex from Corbanth about 9 months ago. Nice hilt, no real problems with it. But I wasn't really a big fan of that classic Graflex. It was a little too chunky for me. However, what I then decided I was going to look for was this, the 7 Chambers Anti-Flex. Unfortunately, I wasn't really dialed in on the run when 7 Chambers had started it, so I kind of missed getting in on that run. But somebody was selling one on eBay for just the right price, and it is in beautiful condition. He basically, well, according to him, he had never really used it for anything. A few tiny blemishes on it, but no scratches. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So I treated myself. And so this is actually, even though I know this isn't like the traditional Graflex, this is the version of the Graflex that that for me I really prefer, mainly because of its sort of slimmer profile. So it's much more wield friendly. Control box is a little smaller, and the T-grips are a little bit more spaced apart. So, yeah, definitely will have to think about the install options for this one coming up. I have to put it in line. So that was the good news. I've been looking for one of these. Missed the run with 7 Chambers, but ended up finding somebody selling their 7 Chambers. Anyway, so yeah, pretty happy with it, and got it at a pretty good price. So thank you, I think it was Joe. I think his name was Joe. Thank you, Joe. He's a very nice guy to deal with too. Very amenable and really straightforward guy. No muss, no fuss. Just pay the man. He sends you the product, and it's exactly what you thought it was going to be. Love it. Okay, so for the really good news, and some of you may have already seen my post in the Universal Lightsaber community if you're part of that Facebook group. I've been looking for this hilt for 18 months. This has been my unicorn of unicorns, my double-horned unicorn. I had previously run into 2 potential opportunities to get one, and both fell through. One of them felt kind of scammy, and the other one, the guy just sort of pulled out because at the last minute, because he sort of decided that maybe I was a little too happy about getting it from him, and I don't know, maybe he thought that it was a little more valuable than maybe it really was, and so decided not to sell at the last minute or something. I don't know. But this young man, Patrick, I think his name is, a very nice guy. He's just sort of like kind of over the hobby, sort of phasing out. Happened to have it laying around. Knew it was probably worth a little bit of money, given that it's, given that the saber maker, and put it up for sale. A guy who I've gotten to know in the last couple of months, who's become, really good friend in the saber hobby, Jamie, saw the post, immediately tagged me because he knew I was hunting for one. And thank you, Jamie. And so I literally PM'd the guy like 15 seconds after the post dropped on Lightsaber Market, and we had a great chat, got to know each other, and yeah, so ended up finding my very own Genesis Custom Sabers 2-tone back axe. Now this is, I believe, I tried to get some information from him about when this one was built. He wasn't quite sure. He basically said, I think it's somewhere between 3.5 years old, which is about right, because I think the last time these were run in earnest was sometime around mid-2018, I want to say, early to mid-2018. So I think this has either a Crystal Shard version 3 or version 4 board in it. I'm leaning towards version 3 because there's some features in the Crystal Shard version 4 and 4.5 that this saber doesn't have. Totally fine. It's really just the hilt that I'm after. So yeah, this has been my unicorn of unicorns of sabers. One sort of note about the crystal shards. I mean, I know, so I wasn't in the saber hobby when crystal shards were the thing. Like when Vader's Vault was doing their installs with CS, and Genesis Custom Sabers was doing their installs with CS, and probably Saber Trio was too. So that was sort of before my time. I didn't get into the hobby until November, I want to say, of 2019. Because I had gone to Disneyland that October of 2019, and that was like my first introduction to just sabers at all. Didn't even know this hobby existed until October of 2019. And so I really didn't get into understanding what sort of the top end stuff, commercially produced stuff, really was until maybe March of 2020. And by that time, I had heard of Genesis Custom Sabers and Vader's Vault at that point, and was like, yeah, it would be great to be able to get a saber from them at some point. But I was still at that stage where like $500-600 was still like sticker shock to me. I was still in that mindset of I shouldn't be spending more than $250 or $300 on a lightsaber. Like anything above that is just ridiculous. Yeah, those were the days, right? Anyway, so at the time, I probably could have. I think these were sold out by then. By early 2020, I think these had already been sold out. And I was sort of hunting Rob Peckow's page, every couple of weeks, just checking in to see if he'd updated when he might be doing a rerun of these. Because I always wanted one, like from very early on, and I was thinking of like what a cool curved saber for dueling, or for cosplay, or for just shadow fighting. Like, and when I saw this thing, I just started drooling. I was just like, the profile is beautiful. The plating on the front is just like everything about it is just exactly what I would imagine a curved saber to be. Just kicks the shit out of a Saberforge Bane. There's just no comparison. And the Bane it's a decent looking saber. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just this is just the creme de la creme. And Rob Peck, I've seen his custom versions of this, like the GCS Bane versions, like with the bone, and the nice, the further customizations on the hilt, and those are just out of this world beautiful. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think this was sort of the productionalized, sort of more bare bones version of those, yeah. So I'm so over the moon having finally gotten my hands on one. Yeah, so for now, I think what I'm going to do is sort of get familiar with it, with its feel, do some dueling with it while I've still got the Crystal Shard soundboard in this thing, and then just sort of take my time and think about any improvements I may want to make to it. And I want to get familiar with, with how the saber operates, how it comes apart, and all of the different pieces to it, so that any decisions I make to it, I'm making sure I'm making the right ones. I want to know this saber inside and out before I make any choices about any kind of install options or any kind of install changes to make. But for the meantime, man, all of the photos in Lightsaber Open Carry, any photos I show you of like me carrying this is going to be on my belt for. I love my Saber Trio. Don't get me wrong. I love strapping that one to my hip. But this one's going to get a little bit more attention, I think, for a little while. Just so cool. So anyway, this is it. This is the Genesis Custom Sabers Bat Axe, and this is a two-tone. This is the I believe this is the non-anodized version. It did come with a CoverTech wheel, and it is, I believe, running. I think this was an early 2018 run, and I believe this is running Crystal Shard version 3. I'm pretty sure it's a version 3 board. And the only thing that was wrong with this that I knew about before I bought it was that the plastic on the retention screw, the retention knob, cracked off a little bit. But that's not a problem. I'm just going to strip the rest of this plastic off and maybe do like a little bit more of a decoration on here. Do something kind of neat on it. But yeah, that's not a big deal. Other than that, it just, the guy that owned it previously, you know, he did some dueling with it, had some fun with it, which is where I would expect. You know, so it's got a little bit of scuffing on it. Nothing that I wouldn't expect after 3 years of regular to semi-regular use. You know, no gaping gouges or nicks or serious cuts and bruises. No serious defects on the saber at all, really. It's just in really nice condition for being a 3.5-year-old used saber. This is just, I consider myself lucky and blessed at the same time. Very, very happy. So this is my 3 of 3 unicorns that I've been looking for. So I kind of don't know what to do now. Collecting. I'm going to have to figure out maybe figure out the new next set of 3 unicorns to do, or maybe just focus on what upgrades, mods, and changes I want to do to my current collection. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing for like the next half year to a year. Just sort of enjoy what I've got for now and think about what should get modified and what can stay as is. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend, and may the force be with you.